Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to After the Snap, and I got Angus and Thomas here to jump this whole thing off with me. So thanks for being here early, guys. I appreciate that. Man, we got an episode of Discovery to talk about, huh? Oh gosh, we got an episode of Discovery. We can just have a wrap up conversation for Peacemaker and then an introductory conversation for Bel Air. I don't know how many people are interested in it, but I am trying to drum up interest in this show because, Lord have mercy, it took me by surprise how actually well this dramatic rendering works. So, yeah, but we're going to start with Discovery because Discovery is, that's my baby. That's my baby. So I got to jump that thing off with Discovery. What did you guys think of this episode? I guess last week I was saying, it's a good departure of leaving the ship finally and going and doing some away mission type stuff. But this time we got to hit the ground running and we need some action. And I feel like we got some of that, but I can't help but feel that this is kind of not a spoiler, a filler episode. Like there was a lot of stuff happening, but there really wasn't nothing happening. Did anybody else get that vibe? Um, of course, we got yeah, he had a plan for everything. I don't know, my shit is freezing already. I don't he had a plan for everything except for the one thing that he had a contingency for everything that could have stopped it on this end. He never thought that the people on the other end were smart enough to not send the one thing he needed, which was the power device, power for this thing. So yeah. We got several. I don't know. I'm off today. I've been telling, like, I was talking to Lysandra and Dee earlier. We had a conference call, and I'm just off today. A hair off today. So forgive me for that. But yeah, I just felt like it was so much going on, but nothing was going on. We kept repeating. We found out just how well Book and Burnham know one another. They are able to anticipate one another's next move, but that ain't no good. When you keep doing that, it starts to become redundant. How many of you think, or what do we think about Burnham and how she handled this mission? Do we think that they should have went with the taking that shot at the prototype spore drive? Do we think they should have done that, or were we okay with her hemming and hawing about firing on Book's ship? Because I have a problem with that. Even I feel like Lieutenant Nan, who I was very happy to see come back, I feel like she was there to serve a purpose, and that purpose is when things start getting out of hand and Burnham can't make the tough decision, that you take the command and you make the command decision to fire on Book's ship. And somehow that didn't happen. You said Michael did everything she was supposed to do. She stayed within the lines, but the line was, if you could not, if you couldn't just bring them in, that you needed to destroy the isolinium. You need to make sure that they're not able to destroy that DMA. And she didn't do that. I felt like she failed. And I felt like her failure becomes Nan's failure because neither one of them made the hard call. Nan was ready to, but she even allowed Burnham to talk her out of that. I don't know. I felt kind of iffy about everything that they were doing. That it was just not I guess nobody wanted to cross Burnham. And while she, it's cool that she had that she has the trust of her entire crew, that she is going to figure out a way. This time she didn't figure out a way. So her inaction, her inability, and I know that's her husband, not her husband, but her man on the other ship. And it's one thing to fire on enemy, but it's something entirely different to fire on somebody that you love. I get it. I feel like she was the wrong person to be in command of this mission. You said she was bringing them in after they played cat and mouse for a little while. She was bringing them in, but the wild card was always Tarka. It would be different if it was just Book on the ship. Her talking Book into coming in would have been great because it's just Book. But Tarka has been doing little underhanded things behind Book's back the entire time. And even Book Burnham knew, oh, that had to be Tarka who fired those torpedoes, because Book wouldn't do that. So that he's a wild card. The only thing that could have been done in that situation was to try to lock on a Book and pull him off the ship before you destroy it. Because Tarka was not taking no for an answer. We already knew that for every thought and step that the Federation had, he had a counter step. But I'm wondering why they played the game too long. Burnham and Book might have been having a whole lot of fun getting into each other's head and realizing that they knew what the next step was to in their thought processes, how they're going to get around one another. But they had no contingency for Tarka, just like Tarka had no contingency for what the species 10C was going to do about the power supply for their mining equipment. It was underestimating Federation, underestimating Tarka underestimating species 10C, and it just turned into a big freaking mess to me. I gotta I didn't dislike the episode. You said that everyone assumed that Tarka would follow Book. That was the collective mistake. Yeah. That once Book said, well, I'm not jumping anymore, or I'm not doing, I'm not part of this anymore. Once Book said that, it would seem like that's the end. Tarka can't make any more moves because he can't use the ship to jump. But they're already that close to the DMA. He just, to me, I felt like they blew this mission. I really do. 10C said, our mining probe stopped responding. Well, sit another and keep going. Yeah, it's just like, we ran out of gas for our lawnmower. It's just something simple to them. It was just as easy as almost a blink of an eye that they had a new one there ready to restart the mission, their mission. And unfortunately, their mission is going a whole heck of a lot better than the Federation's mission was. Now we got on our hands what could potentially be they tore up our mining equipment. Now I'm mad at them, or is it just a situation where they're like, oh, it worked too hard and it blew up? They still, do you think species 10C is still like, who cares about the Federation? If they even know they exist. It seems like this species is so advanced that they probably don't even know the Federation exists on the other side in this side of the galaxy, and they're just, who cares? It's little ants over there. We might as well just step on them, I felt some kind of way about this episode. Um, I felt like everybody kind of dropped the ball, and I think they all dropped the ball because it was Book. It was somebody they knew. Angus said all of the critical infrastructure for the mining operation is on the other end of the wormhole. They don't care about one lost drone. Yeah, and that's what made me start thinking. Of course, I had to adjust my thinking. I started thinking, okay, what if somebody said the other week, and if it was you or Thomas, I'm sure you guys will let me know. Somebody said a week or so ago, was it, do you think, do we think this is the Borg? And I was like, oh God, I hope not. But then the efficiency with which they dispatched this next drone was so Borg like. And I initially started thinking, okay, this could be an advanced Borg collective. But Michelle Paradise said, nope, if you think you know who it is, you're wrong. This is somebody totally new, a totally new species that was created for discovery. So now we know, now if she was telling the truth, if she wasn't playing the misleading game in that interview, we know it's not the Borg. It's also not the Klingons. It's possibly not the species that we saw at the beginning of this season with the Kawat Malat. So we're getting something new, and they are OP as hell. It is beyond the scope of anything I think I've seen since the original series. Or maybe that one species that I saw in the Next Generation. Remember that one species, and I forgot what his name was. It's an ugly little character, and gosh, what was his name? Right. I think I'm in agreement with you, Thomas. I think this episode should have made the hard choice: peaceful first contact at all cost, even if it cost Book, even if it meant stepping on Burnham's toes. Because Burnham was, she did everything. They asked, or Admiral Vance asked her, are you going to have any difficulty with this? She says, I know the stakes of this thing. If we have to, we will have to fire on the ship. But then did everything possible to not fire on the ship, even when Book's ship, because it wasn't Book, even when Book's ship fired on them. If Lieutenant Nan would have stepped in like, nope, we're having none of this, that ship fired, that was an act of aggression. Now it ain't us starting it, it's us ending it. If we must, we can beam them off of the ship before we destroy it, or however, but we're about to destroy that ship. Yeah, Angus, because I hope I'm gonna read your comment first, so people will know what I'm answering. I really hope the species from the species from the moon ship ties ties into the overall story somehow. And yeah, I think so. But that looked like a ship that was trying to escape something, right? So maybe they were not in agreement with the way things were going over on their galaxy, so they built this escape vessel and they left. But it does seem like it should tie in. But if you were to take Michelle Paradise at her word, it won't. I don't think she said it won't. She said that this is a new species that was created for discovery. So it could be that species. It could be the alien group that they helped in the beginning. That would make sense that, okay, now we help them, now they owe us. So yeah, I really hope that would be what they considered the first contact, and that group of that species is who is behind the DMA. I hope, because to introduce another species, you need to do it like next episode. It can't wait till the end, you know. I'm glad that they are, it seems like, ramping up and getting ready to take us to the point where we're going to possibly meet this new species. I'm ready to do that. I also want to know what the heck is going to happen to Book and Tarka. You know, even though Book had the intention of cooperating with the Federation, at the end of the day, if he would not, if they wouldn't have absconded with this prototype spore drive, none of this would be happening. So there has to be a price paid for stealing Federation equipment and embarking upon this crazy mission to destroy this DMA when they have no clue who or what even sent it. But yeah, whoever said Borg a couple of weeks ago for a couple of minutes in this episode, I was like, that's the Borg. That's the Borg. So yeah, but it's turning out that it's probably something that we would not have been able to guess, but it could still be that species from the Kuat Malat episode, Choose to Live. What did you all think of Lieutenant Bryce and Lieutenant Reese? Are they lieutenant commanders now? Whatever their ranks are. What did you think of their debate when they were on their ill-fated away mission? Yeah, there's two paths, especially since Book is not answering Burnham's hails. There's two paths. One is to flee and become fugitives. And then the second would be to go and turn themselves into Starfleet custody and face trial for their transgressions. Yeah, I'm wondering what they'll do, because Book Book felt like, as long as you guys ain't trying to lock me up, I'll come in. You know, Tarka, he looks so dejected. Once he realized that they are not powering this thing from this side, they're powering it from the other side of the galaxy, which kind of lines up to what Dreamwalker even said months ago. I'm going to find his theory and bring it up, because he said months ago what he thought it could be. And I said, well, you know, I can kind of agree with that. And last week he had given up and said, nope, I don't think my theory is right. But I think that it still has I think it still has some validity. It still could be a good sound theory. Angus said that conversation was like shadow puppets presenting both sides of the debate on the issue. The conversation felt a little forced, and Saru was correct in shutting it down so they could focus. I agree, but I'm glad that if you were going to do this exposition-y type conversation, that it wasn't the regular people, that we at least get to see a personality in each one of these characters, like what side of this argument each one fell on, and to know that everybody is not in agreement with taking it easy on Book. Some people believe that Book should be corralled in some way, and then there's another faction of people who say Book is out of line and we got to do everything we can to stop them. What's up, Mr. Reinhardt? I don't know. My screen is. I think I know what it is. I think I know what's making my screen do that. I'm gonna fix it in just a minute. I'm trying to find. I bet you I can't. I bet you I won't find it. It wasn't Cass. Doot, doot, doot. I thought I kept all my messages, and it's looking like I did not. How did I lose that message? Or what email address did he send it to? I did. Well, I can't find it. Excuse me, which makes me a little angry because that was a decent, really decent theory, and it looks like it could potentially he was on to something. Um, you said you do enjoy the character development. Yeah, we just need a little bit more of it. We need to we need to know what these people would think based upon their personality types. Much like, and of course, these were the big three in the original series, but much like we kind of knew if the once a situation was presented, we kind of knew where Spock was going to fall in on this, whatever the most logical thing or answer to the problem was. That's where Spock was going to live. And then we also know that McCoy was going to land on whatever the most, I guess, the most humane way of doing stuff or the most emotional way of doing stuff. That would be where McCoy landed. And then Kirk would have to find a way somewhere in the middle. You said Linus needs some development. Yeah, all of these characters need development. I saw something that I didn't recognize, and I'm gonna find that picture in here. This, you know, who is this, and what do they do, and what is their species? Do you know the species of this character? Because I don't remember seeing her before, and I'm assuming a her because but I don't remember seeing this character before. But what is her species even? Sorry. And I don't know. I was noticing also a few new faces on the bridge. And then we had Lieutenant Christopher and Lieutenant Bryce. And the reason why Lieutenant Christopher was supposed to be a thing even was because the young man who played Lieutenant Bryce was coming back and forth to set because he had something else that he was filming at the same time. So this was a situation where we saw both of them on the bridge at the same time. Let me see. I don't have a picture of that Lieutenant Christopher. He said, based on the body morphology, she's a female mammal with a huge head. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Reinhardt said, I feel they have to be careful on the writing on this because you don't want Book to go so far you can't realistically bring him back into the fold unless it's over for Book, unless this is like his last season. As I was listening to, and I don't think he was saying this definitively, but it was something that Clarence said in the last episode of discussing Trek. He said, what if Book is done? And this is their way of getting rid of the character, whatever happens in this season. And I'm kind of like, what if that is the case? What if Book, do we need Burnham to have a love interest? That's my question. Like, she's had a love interest in each season thus far. And of course, it's not taking anything away from this character. And in fact, the first 2 seasons of Discovery, it added to the character because she was learning how to get in touch with her emotions due to her Vulcan upbringing. But do we really need her to have a love interest in this series for it to work? True that. Michael was arrested and jailed for mutiny. Now she's a captain. Book can come back from this. I think with Burnham's situation, though, what she did and being arrested for mutiny and all of this stuff was technically almost 1,000 years ago. And the only people who would remember that were the people who were on that ship with her, who came from the past. The entire Federation knows what Book has done. It's like it should at this point be common knowledge. He is on the Federation's most wanted list. His picture and what he's done should be spread throughout the entire Federation. There should be no place to hide. So it's a little different, this situation, huh? Yeah. Haven't y'all seen Lower Decks? They can bring anyone back from the dead for no reason. None whatsoever. We just want him back. We miss him. Oh gosh. So yeah, and then speaking of love interests, I think it's far more interesting, and this is just my opinion. Of course, you guys can tell me what you think. I think it's far more interesting to explore Saru and Tarina with their love, with their little dude. I didn't know you were in here. When did you come back in here? He scared me. I'm gonna introduce you guys to my cat. Come here. You don't want to be bothered now, huh? You hear me over here talking when I wanted quiet and peace. When I wanted peace and quiet, you didn't want to give it to me. And now you want to be quiet. Okay, kitty. You want to go back and lay down? Did I just start something with you? Okay, peace out. Peace to the Middle East, guy. Have fun. I forgot. He was so quiet, I forgot he was in here. But anywho. Oh yeah, I'm far more interested in seeing what goes on with Saru and President Tarina. That to me, I guess I'm just trying to figure out how that romance even works. Would it be specifically based on just? I mean, what would it be based on? It's just a weird undertaking, and I like the fact that he's kind of nervous about getting involved. He's not jumping headlong into this relationship with Tarina. But I don't feel like Burnham needs, do we need to see Burnham not coupled up and see her just navigating as a captain instead of Book's girlfriend? You know what? Because I know what it is that's freezing my screen. Hopefully that fixes things. Hopefully. So yeah, that conversation between Culber and Saru was probably what all of us would have said in this situation. Dude, if you don't go ahead and talk to this lady, go out to dinner. You don't know what's going to come of it. Ooh, that wouldn't be good either. You said, imagine if Michael flew from planet to planet like Kirk and Riker. That would be dangerous as well. Probably a little bit more dangerous, seeing as though she could actually bring a life into the world. Wouldn't want that now, would we? Hopping from planet to planet, and oops, Captain Burnham is having an alien baby. A little part of me likes the fact that she has had relationships, because that's something that we didn't see from other captains, with the exception, I believe, of Cisco. We didn't get to see them engage in a relationship. We may have heard about relationships that they were in from the past, but we never saw them involved with anybody. But at the same time, it's starting to get a little old to me that, you know, every season, uh Michael has a new boy, well, not a new boyfriend, but she enters the season with a boyfriend. When the other captains, it seems like their main and only priority has always been their ship. They have always been they have always been I'm gonna have to put Grogu out of here. This is Grogu. Grudge is he's somewhere else. But Grogu is the affectionate one. So this is Grogu. But and that's Angus. That's exactly what I'm saying. Picard was in love with and had in a deeply committed relationship with his ship. Same with Kirk. Kirk would cheat on the ship occasionally. It was only physical though with those other women. It was never anything that, except for Edith Keeler. He really liked Edith Keeler, but but yeah, but everybody, it seems like Burnham has always been torn between the ship and whoever she's dating at the time. Oh, you're so sweet. Why you gotta be so sweet? I gotta put you out of here, man. Oh, he said Trip had a baby. He even had nipples. Trip was not the captain, though. Even though usually the engineers would have a rather intimate relationship with the ship as well. Trip was not in love with the ship the way Scotty was, and Geordie LaForge. And Geordie LaForge, I just felt like his situation was they just wrote him to be an incel. That's just it. Involuntarily celibate. Well, lay down, cat. If you lay down, I can let you stay in here. If you got to get up and move around, you got to go, buddy. He said, I cat it. Yeah, look out. Why you doing all this, man? You said Phlox was an excellent Star Trek doctor. Yeah, Phlox was one of the best of the bunch. He was. You got to get out of here because I'm starting to talk like a baby just because you're here. Reinhardt said, "Don't get me started on that one, Tasha. I got a whole lot of feelings, and not many of them good, about the way they wrote Geordie LaForge." Right, right. But that's what I'm saying. The characters a lot of times had such an affinity for the ship. They had really little time for anything else, except for the ones that we spoke of get out. Get out. Bye bye. See you later, alligator. Um, yeah, they had such an affinity for the ship that they had time for nothing else. And Book and Burnham, for her to be, he didn't care what I said. He's right back up here. For her and Book to be on this ship, to have been hurled she had been hurled this far into the future, and now uh yeah, this cat has really decided, I'm going right now, you are going to pay attention to me. Yes, I am. I'm going to pay attention in a little while. Not right now. If you could at least say hi. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't have much of a lap kitty. I don't know how to navigate around you. You just got to be up here. Um so yeah, I can't even concentrate on what I'm doing because here we are. We got my baby Guogu. Guogu. Said it seems like Jordy LaForge said there's a cool leak in the engine room. Oh, he said it's not that Vulcans feel no emotion, they feel very strong emotions. Their techniques are about controlling their emotions. So if she feels everything for Saru, she's following a very narrow path. That is the case. Uh yep. I mean, we've seen it before with Vulcans though. So, we've seen Trip and what was her name? T'Pol have a whole relationship. Um, so we've seen it before. It's just, yeah, I want to see how that would work out with those two species. Like, it's just, is what is it? What would a relationship entail? Yes, I want to get in the bedroom with these two species. I want to know exactly what it is they do for fun. Besides meditate, what do y'all do? Say also she might be more interested in a dude who doesn't do that pon far thing. Oh gosh, yeah, that pon far, that whole 7 year. That's yeah, that sounds stressful. Like you got to mark a calendar, be like this fool about to go in the pon far. I ain't gonna get no rest until this stage is over with, and then who knows when I go in the pon far. Shucks. Okay, lay down or get out. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Nope, nope. I gotta go put my cat out, y'all, like because I can't concentrate. And you're scratching me, buddy. Okay, so say goodbye to the stream. Bye, stream. Goodbye, Grogu. Where's your brother? Because I know in a minute that'll be who on my lap next. Where's your brother? Yeah, Vulcan 50 Shades of Grey. Oh gosh, that would be scary. Yeah, I don't want them to be rough with each other now. I just want to know what goes on. Like, they don't have to beat up on each other and all that. I mean, unless they like it. They like it, I love it. Oh gosh. Yeah, and this fella here, this Turk, the other freaking cat is still in here. I thought he let me let him out. Give me a moment. I'm gonna let you guys meet Grudge before I kick him out of here. Come here, Grudge. I thought you were gone, buddy. How did you get in here? Where were you hiding? Say hello. Hello, people. My name is Grudge. All right. Bye, Grudge. We put you out here with your brother. Okay, that's it. Grudge and Grogu are gone. They are gone. Oh, you say you imagine that a mind meld would be sublimely intimate. Yes, it would. But when that's pretty much all you do, that's what's up to. Sounds logical to me. Yep, two tabbies because we couldn't say no. I couldn't have them separate those kitties. The kids got the cats to help with my mental health. They it was only supposed to be one. We found out there were two kittens left, and I could not separate those. I couldn't separate them. So I was like, well, yep, give me both of them. So yep, now I got two cats. Reinhardt says Pon farr is another one of those plot devices they use that people have been trying to explain and re-explain for years. Yeah, because it sounds to me like that they only get the desire for sex once every 7 years. That's the way it sounds to me. But and we watched T'Pol and Trip have a relationship, and I'm assuming that it included sex, and it wasn't within the time of her Pon farr. So yeah, it was a plot device, but one person's plot device is another person's canon, and they are like people will pick it apart. I'm like this. I don't care. Tell a good story. And a good story is pretty much what we've been getting. You said it's wise to have two cats when I'm not there. They entertain each other. Yeah, and you know what? I'm always here. But I don't always feel like playing with the kitties. So they have each other. Yeah, and I like that. Ooh, that's a good question too, Angus. Do Romulans go through it the same way as Vulcans? They are related. They share common ancestry. So do they have to endure the Pon farr? It's a good question. Sorry about that. Y'all probably seen me stand up more today than you ever have. But yeah, the kitties had to go. I gotta light a candle. I don't know why, but in this moment, that's what I thought was important, was to light that candle. So yeah, I enjoyed the episode, even though again, it felt quite fillery to me. It felt like they stretched out uh Burnham and Book playing cat and mouse with one another just to get us to the point where Tarka explodes uh the DMA. He sets off this weapon. Um so now that we've gotten past that, and I don't think nobody is going to be playing with, to me, I really felt like, and I've said it already today, but I really felt like Burnham blew this mission. And, next week, it ain't no plan. Now, have you guys watched the clip, the trailer, and then they put out a scene for next week? Did you guys watch that? Let me know in the chat down here. I still gave this episode a 4.5 stars, even though I'm being nitpicky, because it got us closer to the real conflict, I'm guessing, of the season. So it at least advanced us to now. There is no explanation or no reason why we shouldn't be doing everything we can next week to get to the outer rim and to engage with species 10C. Yeah, If Romulans do have Ponfar, then it's a biological thing that is passed. But if not, then it's a psychological thing that could be a byproduct of Vulcans kind of suppressing their emotions. So it's a good observation. You said you haven't seen the new trailer for this next episode, but you suspect the next step is to go visit their cloaked homeworld of 10C. It's the next logical step in the crisis. Right. And okay, we remember in this particular episode, uh, Burnham or Stamets had surmised, Stamets and Zora, excuse me, I can't leave her out. Stamets and Zora had surmised that DMA, that mining equipment wasn't leaving for 150 something hours, because that's how long it would take them to get every trace amount of bornite out of that system, right? And 150 something hours equates to close to 1 week. That's why Burnham said stand down for a week, and we can revisit this. We'll do it your way if we can't communicate with this species. Okay. In that trailer, it's like they were talking about having only 12 hours. So that means that either they forgot that it was supposed to be a week or a week has passed and they've had a week to kind of continue to work on things, and they've narrowed it all the way down till they only have 12 hours to contact species 10C. Reinhardt said, Tasha, and it made no sense why they didn't just arrest them at the casino. We've seen O and we've seen Burnham fight. If they wanted to take Book and Tarka in, they could have. I agree, but I mean, I'm even like, to this point, shoot that damn ship down and then try to save their lives. I know you don't want to kill Book and they had the isolinium. So yeah, that's one thing that would have made me say I'm going to uh think twice about firing on the ship, because they did have the isolinium. There would have been no saving their lives because that ship would have detonated in anyway. Yeah, if they weren't going to take them in at the casino, then they pretty much knew that we were going to get to this point. Yeah. And I still feel like we should not have had to get to this point. But here we are, and now we got to roll with the decisions that were made, and wonder how they're going to get out of this mess. That's really it to me. How are they going to get out of this mess that they've gotten themselves into? And is species T10C going to be the kind of species where they go and have this conversation and then we never see 10C again? I don't want this to be a situation where they communicate with the species and everything's hunky dory and we never hear about them again. If you're going to introduce a species this powerful, it's just like the Borg to me. Not saying that every time that the Borg was used that I was okay with it, but if you're going to introduce this overpowered species that has no regard for human life, and their only mission, their only plan is to just assimilate knowledge. If you're going to introduce them, use them. And that's where I am with 10C. Whatever 10C is, now that they've introduced them, they got to use them. Use them in some way. You said you did get to see your girl, Commander Commander Nan. Yeah, I liked seeing her. I would like to find out more about what happened with her and the other Barzan people. What went on? She didn't look like it was a really good time when she when she saw her people. And I'd like to know more of her story in the adventures or non-adventures that she got into when she went to her home world. Angus, I can agree with that. That's why you wanted to be the bad guys from Picard. I completely agree. And I think Thomas is agreeing as well. I want to see it, that you've already shown us uh a overpowered alien species in Picard, and now you're showing us this OP alien species in Discovery. If they're not the same species, then we need to know more about these. You can't just bring them in and not have us know more about them. You did say that. You did say that, Thomas, that they might be that species, the species from Picard. You said Angus says that Non faced 900 years of changes in her culture. It was culture shock. You can't go home again. Yep, can't go home for, especially for the first time. This is one thing that is that over that period of time, there would have been, just like there were a bunch of changes to the Federation as Burnham and her crew knew it. There would also be changes to every homeworld. There was changes to Earth. There were changes, of course, to now Navarre. So yeah, I would imagine that it would be a huge, huge undertaking to get reacclimated to your home world after 1,000 years. But I still want to see it. And if they do that anthology series, I can imagine taking a departure and going to see her home world and what went on that she didn't like. Much like the way they did with Short Treks when they went to Kaminar, and we first learned what the what life was like for a regular person on Kaminar. That to me was far more interesting than seeing just regular run of the mill stuff on the ship. Reinhardt said, I agree with that, Angus. After 900 years, everybody is dead, and culture has changed so much. They might not even speak the same exact language in that amount of time. This is true. Yep. This is a argument. Oh my gosh. The one video that I have that has like, God, so many views on it was about a man who said he time traveled from 3036. Now, this guy spoke the exact same English that we speak now, which is enough to let you know that it was a big fat lie. He if he was from 1,000 years in the future, he would not speak the exact same English that we speak now. Thank you, Thomas, for hitting the like button. I hope everybody else hits it while they are in the chat hanging around. Just go ahead and hit the like button wherever you are. Thank you. That helps. It really does. So yeah, I gave this episode a 4.5 stars, and I rather enjoyed it, even though I can nitpick with the best of them. I enjoyed the episode. So and I'm feeling like you guys enjoyed it quite a bit as well. But this is the point in the show where I have to ask, oh my goodness. You know one thing? I did not know that they had some background music now on StreamYard. I just ran into it accidentally. How about that? Wow. Well, that's different. Now, where the hell is the stuff that I'm looking for? Oh yeah, this comes to point in the show where I ask you what you're watching. Got to get your boogie woogie on. What are y'all watching? Let me think. I don't think I've seen anything. I've been watching Stargate because I'm trying to get into it for this Tuesday episode that we got coming, where I have decided, I have made the executive decision that we're going to do Stargate, Star Trek, and Star Wars talk on Tuesday. So any rumors, anything, it'll be an open conversation. Now, Stargate, I realized upon watching these first few episodes that it's a lot about Stargate that I don't remember. A lot. And I think I may have only watched it through one time. It's not something I kept going back to. And it's a good series. So I really don't know why. I don't know why I didn't keep going back, but here we are. But I am watching that again, and I'll be ready to discuss uh one episode at least. We're gonna see if I can pull myself into the next two. I watched them, then I think I dozed off. I really do believe I dozed off because that's what I get for watching shit while I'm laying down. I need to watch it on the TV in the living room. Thomas said, "Was it just me, or did the center of the dam look like the Borg perfection molecule?" That is another thing that we have been the center of the DMA. I see what you're saying, but that is another thing that we have been hearing, that it's like I was saying Borg, that it could be the Borg, and that sensor could be that omega molecule. Now, I had kind of surmised that about the burn last year, where I talked about the omega molecule in a video, but we can discuss that a little bit more and how it would be pertinent in this situation as well. That could very well be the omega molecule powering that mining equipment. And wouldn't that be some shit? Because that alone could destroy, uh, if that went kind of itinerant, it could destroy that entire, all of subspace, all around there, be impossible to travel. There's a lot going on with the omega molecule that makes this whole thing possible. Like if it's not powering that DMA, it could very well be powering the uh the cloak that is around this this area of space where 10C lives. So that's something else to think about. Reinhardt said, "Where did I start with Stargate?" With number one. Started from the beginning. Now, uh, and it's SG1. So Stargate SG1, it is on Netflix. So I was able to catch, I could catch any damn episode, but I was able to watch the first three this past week, because along with all the other shit that I be having on my schedule to watch, I did watch three of those episodes. And yeah, we could just talk about, you guys tell me what I'm looking forward to, because a lot of it I do not remember. I didn't even remember that the black dude with the rune in his head, I didn't even remember that his name was Tilk. I've been calling that man Tilc. And a lot of the characters, I didn't remember their names. I remembered a lot of the functions behind what they were doing. I didn't even remember their names. It's crazy. Reinhardt said, "I would much rather have it be the omega molecule that caused a burn than what we got." Not griping on it anymore, just saying, yeah, it would have been a more interesting uh proposition to have to go and figure out how to navigate that omega molecule. But maybe they heard us, and that's why they say, "Oh shit, well, we'll put it in this season since y'all like it so much." You said you like Jack O'Neill and Sam Carter's relationship. I gotta remember who is who. I know who Jack O'Neill is. I can't remember who Sam Carter is. So that's what it is. I have to get reacquainted with these characters and what happened. I can remember when stuff starts happening. Like in the first episode, I can remember when things start happening, what happens. But like going in order, I can't remember. I can't remember like that. um Reinhardt said, yeah, after rewatching Stargate myself, and like I said, I've seen the entire series about 6 times. You always pick up something new. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, the lady. Yeah, because they thought it was gonna be a guy because Sam. I get it. Amanda tapping. So yeah, so I guess that's what I'm watching. That's different than what you guys already know that I'm watching, which y'all know that I've been watching Peacemaker. We haven't talked about it a lot on the show. We have touched on things here and there, but the other day, that was the final episode of this season, and that it has been renewed. It has been picked up for a season 2. So we got that going for us with Peacemaker. But yeah, we saw some growth between Peacemaker and with Leota, the one that's playing. Leota is Waller's daughter. So we did see some growth there as well. I won't spoil an awful lot just in case some people haven't seen it and they will go back. I'm saying it was uh a decent season 1. It actually it worked for me. Um Probably, and I've said it before, probably one of the best DC live action series that I've seen in a long time. So, because as long as the first season, the first couple of seasons of Arrow lives, then this won't be the best. But it was pretty darn good. You said Peacemaker's father became more powerful towards the end, like Obi-Wan, like so much like Obi-Wan. And while I didn't have a problem with that, I found it boy, they killed him off real quick. The first time we get to see him, and I know they can't keep doing this, it probably took a little chunk out of their production budget. But I would have liked to have seen him as the white dragon for a little while longer. Keep him, as an antagonist for a while. I mean, it seems like he's still going to be an antagonist because he is kind of haunting Chris. He's haunting Peacemaker. Um, but I also wonder, moving into next season, what changes are we going to see to the Peacemaker? Where are we going to yeah, where are we going to find him on the journey that he was on? Now he changed an awful lot in this series, but what is going to be different? We're getting a season 2. Is he going to be afraid to, or is he going to begin to pull his punches because he's starting to understand friendship? He's starting to forgive himself for what happened with his brother. Uh, he may have to wrestle with the idea of what happened to his father, but he's starting to learn to forgive himself and to allow himself to have friends. So you said you didn't know what, Mr. Reinhardt. So yeah, that's some of the questions that I have, but there was a lot to love about the series. I'm glad. Uh, uh, this is a big fat spoiler, so say la la la. Put your fingers in your ear if you don't want to hear it. But the only character we lost was Mern. I was happy that Vigilante made it to the end of this first season. I honestly thought that he was going to kick the bucket. See, you only watched the first 2 episodes. Well, I don't know how much you have already heard about this series, and I don't particularly want to spoil anything, but there was just like a big event at the end of the at the end of this episode that I kind of wanted to talk about. Now, if that is going to bother you, I'm going to stop right now. So now is your time to tell me, Tasha, shut up or forever hold your peace, because there was something that happened at the very end of this episode that I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, that's going to cause some problems. But there, you said I could talk about it. You don't need it. Okay, so I'm not going to flesh out anything else of this except for this. At the very end, Peacemaker has been somebody said stop. Somebody said stop, and I'm gonna stop. He's not seen it yet. I'm not gonna say nothing more. Then I showed it briefly, but I'm not gonna spoil anything more. You stopped me just in time, Thomas. I was about to go. It does get dangerous in here on Sundays, because most of the time I do plan to spoil everything. But I got my core group of people here who are big contributors as far as knowledge and everything else. You can watch that. Uh, you can watch that on HBO Max. I don't know why I froze on that on HBO Max, Thomas. And yes, it was priceless. We shall not speak of that. Next week, it's all everything on the table next week. If I bring this back up, it's because we have I've given everybody enough time. Next week, not this week though. I will not spoil it. But I did absolutely, totally, woodly enjoy it. But it did spark like this huge conversation, this huge debate. And that was, yeah, I felt some type of way, but some other people, y'all already know who it was. Y'all know who was making the noise and who was having problems and blah blah blah. It's as always the freaking restore this cut. Uh, Release that cut is them people. So and I'm also in the middle of things. Before I kind of touch on Bel Air, I won't even talk about that in a spoiler way, because uh I do want people to go into it. If they decide to watch it, I want you to kind of go into it blind, so you get that fuzzy feeling that I got with watching it. But before I go on, I do want to say a special thanks to my patrons. I don't do it every stream because I forget sometimes, that's also because I suck. But thank you to my patrons: Clarence, Larry, who was Reinhardt, Kaz, Libra Spirits, Eileen M, Emily T. If you want to support the show on a monthly level as a patron, you can do that at patreon.com/Tasha Pierce. I will appreciate any and all assistance that you could give me with keeping things afloat over here. And like my big thing, and it'll be years before I make enough money through my patrons to get me a chair. But this chair is no longer comfortable. It's no longer suiting my needs. I need a chair. And that's what I'm going to get. Try to stack the money, get myself a nice gaming chair with some massage going on in the back. So when I'm sitting here for 4 hours, I don't feel like I been in a foxhole, because that's how I feel. Bel Air. You guys remember the Fresh Prince of Bel Air? That's a simple one, and you either loved it or you didn't like it much. It's pretty much no middle ground. And Will Smith played the role of Will Smith in the show, and he moved in with his rich family in Bel Air because he got in one little fight and his mom got scared. So yeah, that happened. What we have with this show Bel Air. Oh, you loved it, Thomas? Yes, you either loved it or hated it, I guess. But yeah, so where we at with this new Bel Air is same story. He got in one little fight, except for that fight really wasn't little that he got into. Of course, little to a teenage boy and little to his mama are two different things. But he got in one little fight and his mom got scared. Said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air." And that's what he did. He moved to Bel Air. But this is a dramatic rendering of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. And it's showing it. I like to think that the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the original sitcom, was all of this from the point of view of Will, the kid in the room. And I like to think of this Bel Air series as a grown up Will who's had time to reflect. And now he's thinking, like, damn, that shit was far more serious than I thought it was. Yeah. So that is how I like to know. There's nobody who said this is what they're thinking or doing or whatever. That's just the way I like to sit back and look at it. Like, yeah, he as a kid, you do things as kids do. And I think that a 18 or 17 to 18-year-old Will Smith would have thought everything that was going on in the house was funny and everything would have looked one way to him when all in all actuality the situation that he found himself in, as is told in this version of Bel Air, is far worse. And it wasn't just one little fight. It was one fight that turned into true to life beef that this kid wasn't ready for. And this was a kid who uh, had a talent, excelled at playing basketball, just like the Will in Fresh Prince of Bel Air. So it's a dramatic telling or retelling of this story, and I'm here for it. At first, I was wondering. I always wanted to watch it. I was wondering how it was going to work. Like, is this is this going to turn out to be some BS? And to be quite frank, we've gotten 4 episodes of Bel Air, and it's been outstanding. Each one of those episodes has been, uh, in a lot of ways, relatable. In some ways, the unrelatable aspects of it are done in such a way to make you realize this is completely unrelatable to the regular normal person. It's supposed to be. And now when you as we move on, we're seeing how Will, the person who is our central character and who we relate the most to, how he kinds of brings his extended family, the Banks, kind of back down to earth. They've been living up in this mansion and being rich for so long that they forgot how to be regular people. And he is kind of reintroducing them to normal shit, the stuff that they used to like. But with money and status, there comes this, we have to appear or act a certain way. And he is bringing them off of that mountaintop that they've been living on and having them move around with the peasants a little bit. And I was here for it. I completely and totally love what they've done so far with it. I don't know how many episodes we're getting of the series, so I'm not going to I'm not going to I'll look it up real quick. Yeah, I don't know. We've gotten 4 already. We gotten 4 episodes already, but they I hope that we are getting I hope we're getting at least a 10. Yeah, I just guessed it, a 10 episode run. So we're already at number 4. We're almost at the mid season. I really I really wish that everybody would watch it. And I know Davina, for example, she is itching to talk about this show. So next week, whether you've watched it or not, I am gonna have Davina on because Davina is also uh I won't call her a patron because she's not part of Patreon, but she's a big supporter of this show. And so I kind of have to the bigger supporters, I gotta canoodle, I gotta kiss their butts just a little tiny bit because they don't have to help me in the way that they do, and that would be me appreciating them. I appreciate you guys too. That's why I added that entire show because first and foremost, I love talking to y'all, and secondly, you guys show up for me every week. I really appreciate it. And if you want an extra show, I'm gonna give you an extra show. You said, as you recall, Uncle Phil had some rough times as a young man. Right. And that is the issue. I feel that way about many of us. Like you kind of have you waded through some bullshit to get to a certain point in your life. And then you look back on people waiting through the same bullshit that you waded through, and you kind of look down your nose at them. And I'm like, no, 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 no. This is when we're supposed to help people. We're supposed to help them get through the bullshit that you got through, but instead you sit up on what you consider your lofty mountaintop and you look down on those people. And I just don't think that. I think that's it's an ugly but common habit that people get. I'm going to look down my nose at you because you don't have what I have, and what I made it. Why couldn't you? I don't like that, but that is the and they don't do it. It's not so obvious. It's not mustache twirling that they're doing it in that manner, but it does make you think like if you had humble beginnings and you got where you were, you didn't get there without any help. So now is your turn to be the help for somebody else. Do it and be a happy, cheerful giver. And I look at that, yes, sir, pulling up the ladder behind you. And it kind of goes both ways. There are some people who are wading through the same bullshit that you are and get mad at you for finding your way out. And so instead of saying, yes, find your way out so you can help the next person, they start trying to drag them back in. Crabs in the barrel syndrome. But so that thing works both ways. I'll put it like that. It works both ways. I don't like either. I don't like either, but we know that there are people out there like that. And while it's not that extreme where you're not seeing it just in an extreme way, you are seeing enough of it to say that's what happened. You had goals and ambitions and dreams for you and yours, and you guys made it. And here you are now in a position where you can do the same. And you are surrounding yourself with cameras and walls and gates because you want to keep that element out. So yeah, I feel like Will is making them is bringing them back down to earth. He was in a situation where he didn't even know his family like that. He knew that this was my aunt and this is my uncle and they've got some kids, my cousins, but they weren't close. They didn't visit one another. He hadn't seen them in years by the time he was sent there for the one little fight. His mom got it. Yeah, when his mama sent him there, he hadn't seen them in years. That's kind of weird to me. It's like, that's really weird that your mom's sister is still alive. They alive. Your mama is alive. Her sister is alive. And y'all ain't like kicking it every summer or something. It's kind of weird to me. But here we are. That's where we are in the series. And so far the series has been good. Not spoiling anything. There are fundamental differences in the way these characters look, and in some of the ways that they act. But the young man Jabari Banks that is playing Will Smith, I think his name is Jabari Banks. The young man is playing Will Smith has the proper amount of Will Smith in him to he pulls it off. Even like, even though it's a dramatic retelling, he is like kind of the funny person in the series. I like that they didn't change his personality an awful lot. Carlton, he's a changed character, but he's still, it's just not funny. He's doing it in a dramatic way, and it kills me. I really cannot stand Carlton in the show, but Wow, you said, yeah, your mother and aunt don't talk. They haven't spoken in 16 years. Now, if you were a teenager and got into some trouble, would your mother that hasn't spoken to your aunt in 16 years, would she call her and be like, can you take my son in? Because if not, he's going to get killed here. And I know this is like just crazy inner city type problems, but he going to get killed here. So can you take him in so that to take him out of harm's way? Would your mother do that to an aunt that she hadn't spoken to, or to her sister that she hadn't spoken to in over a decade? Because I can't say that it had been a decade since Will's mother and Carlton's mother spoke. You said not a chance. She did that to your grandmother. So there is a relative, like, I guess that would be closer. Yes, what I'm like is, okay, Will's mother and Aunt Viv, obviously, I guess they keep in contact with one another, but they didn't make sure that their kids had this close relationship. If they did, then it wouldn't have probably been years since they had heard from or spoken to Will. And I'm just wondering, like, if it's been years since I've spoken to my sister, what kind of relationship do we have? Or if it's been years since she's laid eyes on my child, what kind of relationship do we have? Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's like when Quinn came to Texas a few times when he was growing up to stay with his father, it would be like, what your daddy didn't take you around your aunties and uncles? That would be strange to me, because I probably sat up under my sister's family for their entire life. Those kids, they wouldn't know the world without me. So so for that to have been the thing, it just seems so weird. But yeah, that's the situation that they're in. And Will is getting acclimated to Bel Air, and the family is growing because of his presence. They're changing in ways that are beneficial to them, and the changes are, I have to learn to be a little more down to earth, because there's a point in time where all of that can get snatched up from all the things that you have can be snatched out from up under you. Or there's an opportunity to help somebody and you need to take it. And especially with this version of Uncle Film, Uncle Film. This version of Uncle Phil is running for district attorney. So, he is really he needs to be relatable. And people are realizing he is not. His kids have no idea how the other side lives. They're naive and they are in a lot of ways entitled. And it is shown in the way that they act. It's crazy. Yeah, but I hope that more people get into the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, or not the Fresh Prince. We've already watched that series. Get into Bel Air as a series so that we could talk about that a little bit more. Maybe, and I know next week, no matter what, D wants to talk Bel Air. We gonna talk Bel Air. I will save it for the last thing we talk about, so that anybody who wants to check out because they haven't caught up will be able to do it. But yeah, next week Bel Air, so that my friend can can have something to talk about it. Oh, Lysandra, you say you're gonna start watching it. I really hope that you do, and I hope you enjoy it because it has been fantastic to me. Just absolutely well done. Kudos to them, because they made these characters dramatic, and they still added more layers to personalities than you will get in a sitcom, and you'll get more layers to motivations than you do in the sitcom. um, Angus says that issue came up on Blackish. The parents were alarmed that their children were being sheltered from the struggle. They didn't understand the pain. Yeah, and I mean, each generation, I think that, especially for and I'm speaking for the African Americans, Black people, each generation removed from, say, slavery, or from even the civil rights era, is a little less in touch with what that struggle was. And while I'm like, okay, that could be seen as a good thing. They're not facing as many obstacles or roadblocks as our people, our predecessors before us. But I myself, at the same time, can think, oh, that's a bad thing, because they won't be able to recognize when the shit is coming back around. It to me is a fundamental responsibility of parents to not teach your child to be a victim, or that sort of thing, but to let them know what happened before, what you could be facing potentially in the future, because right now everything seems gravy, and then next thing you know, we're in the concentration camps and doing manual labor because one group thinks that they're better than the other. And I'm not talking at this point race. I'm talking about class status. There could come a point where, uh, especially with the way younger folks are doing now with their great resignation, and they're realizing their worth, that what their time is worth in currency, there could come a point when the the more elite, the freaking billionaires and multimillionaires could put, they could try it. We need to be able to recognize that ish. I'm not one of those people who hate rich people or I hate billionaires. I don't think they should exist. So I don't hate them. I hate the fact that anybody allows the word billionaire to exist. If you are a billionaire, especially the ones with hundreds of billions of dollars, if you're a billionaire, I got a problem with you. Reinhardt said, Angus, I never watched Blackish and I still haven't finished it, but that is one hell of a show. And I mean, I love that show. That's a show you should look at, Tasha, if you ever get a chance. It's a hard show to watch. Oh, but A Handmaid's Tale. I've heard about A Handmaid's Tale. I have not yet even started to get into it. So, yep, that's another thing that I may have to put on a list for future viewing is Handmaid's Tale. Queen's Gambit. It's a lot of them that people are like, God, Josh, I can't believe you're not watching that. But yeah, here I am not watching it. I will have to get a little bit better at picking other types of shows because you guys can pretty much see what's kind of in my wheelhouse. It is usually sci-fi fantasy. That's usually where I live as far as the shows that I can't wait to watch, sci-fi fantasy, the superhero shit. You guys know that's where my heart is. It starts to feel like work when you start watching other series. I could watch a movie because then I'm only living in that space for 3 hours, at the most. But when you start talking about series, I got to dedicate. Like Raised by Wolves, I love the series. I haven't gotten past episode 2 of this new season because I just can't. I'm like, okay, I can't make time to sit in front of the TV like that. And I want to. You said not giving any spoilers, but it's basically what I just said. It's where a fundamentalist group of people decide that women have no freedom anymore. And I can see that ish happening. And that's why these kids need to know this is some shit that happened before. Once upon a time, once they start regulating your body the way that they're doing now, and I don't care what side of the argument, pro-choice or pro-life, that you sit on, the bottom line is a woman should have autonomy over her own body. You can do something different with your body and it'll be all right. I'll support that. But a woman should have autonomy over her own body. So we can see that right now there are evangelical groups who are trying to put their beliefs on the world. I don't mind you worship what God in whatever form you want to. You cannot police the way I believe. And that is what I'm seeing happening, like you say, like right now. That's what I'm seeing happening. So, yeah, we need to watch The Handmaid's Tale if it's telling that story, because that is where this situation could potentially be headed, where you stop having rights. Took women a long time to be able to vote, to speak out loud, you walking behind the husband, being at home and having children and raising them, which I don't find anything wrong with unless you don't want to do that. Then there's a problem. If that's what you want, go for it. Do it. That ain't what you want. You should be able to go for that as well. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to check it out. It'll be on the list. It's just a matter of when I get to it, because like the Kanye West documentary Genius, the first episode of that came out. I haven't gotten into it just yet, but I plan to, because that is one they're dropping. It's a 3-episode docu-series that they're dropping it 1 week at a time, because they know that when you watch the first one, you're gonna come back to find out some more of his shenanigans. In the meantime, Kanye is keeping his name on everybody's lips. And I don't know if that is by design or if he's really just really freaking out, flipping out the way he's doing. But it could be because Donda 2, that album, came out. And it could be because this Genius thing on Netflix is coming out. So if he has to act real extreme to keep his name out there so that it will garner interest in those projects. Uh, if all of this was because of that, then I would have to call him. I would have to say he is a genius. He making me talk about him, and I had no ambition to talk about Kanye West every damn week, but here we are. Oh gosh. So I have talked about what I wanted to talk about. What you guys got going on? You got anything else? Uh, anything else to discuss for the day? What's new in your neck of the woods? Tell me, tell me, tell me. Because if you don't tell me, y'all know I'm about to go eat dinner. I still got leftovers from yesterday and it was good. That turkey was falling off of the bone. Oh my goodness. I had a smoked turkey leg and I had green beans, some macaroni and biscuits. Delicious. Freaking licious. And I can't wait to get back to it. What's your stuff? It's whatever now. We are on open chat point of the show. So whatever you got, Star Wars, Marvel, Star Trek, Stargate, frick, Star Search. No. But yeah, what's your Star Wars question? Thomas said he's going back for Stargate again. Lord, you are with Stargate the way I am with Deep Space Nine. I just keep watching Deep Space Nine. I get a different feeling each time. Um, there are times that like the craziest things that happen in Deep Space Nine kind of started happening for me in the later seasons when the Dominion War started to pick up. Those kind of moral questions, uh, yeah, it just gives me. Every time I think about it, every time I revisit them, I feel a little bit different. Reinhardt said, just heard about the new Obi-Wan series that there's going to be two meetings between Vader and Obi-Wan. Now, in the original show, it made it seem like they hadn't seen each other since their falling out. I just wanted to know my thoughts on it, your thoughts on it. You were okay with it yourself? And I don't have a problem with any story they want to tell, but it's because I'm not as emotionally invested in Star Wars as I am with say Star Trek. And I still say, if you're going to tell a different side of a story in Star Trek, I'm okay with it as long as it makes sense. It doesn't have to, I don't believe that we should shackle ourselves to canon all the time. Or I believe that there should be some loophole that uh that you can use to get out of just adhering with this canon. I'm good myself with it, but I'd like to hear what really a far more diehard Star Wars fans thought, because I'm not a authority on Star Wars at all. I really am just coming back around to Star Wars from childhood. So I've been and what I've liked, what I've seen so far, I've liked. But there are some diehards who really hate some of the things that I'm like, well, I'm okay with that. And then there are diehards that are like, oh no, that's not right because of this. And when you listen to what they say, you're like, okay, I see what you're saying. Reinhardt said, the reason I'm bringing this up is the big vocal group that always gripes about everything aren't griping about this. But any small change, they lose their mind over this. This is a major change in canon. I mean, does that mean that they've evolved? I hope so. Because I feel like, a story is just a story. It's fictional characters. And as much as I love it, for instance, it appears that in Strange New Worlds, now of course we just saw a photograph. We don't know if what we are reading into is what's going to happen on the show, but it looks like Spock might have a love interest. And we saw that in the Kelvin universe of Star Trek. Spock and Uhura was getting it on. I'm okay with that. There are some people who were really butthurt. They are really married to this canon. And I'm like, come on, y'all. Let these people tell a story. Stop shackling everybody to this one timeline. This is a vast multiverse. Anything could be happening on any of these any of these extra timelines. Angus says his opinion with Star Wars was for a long time been that George Lucas doesn't get his own creation, that the best Star Wars stories have the least to do with George Lucas. Woo! Some people gonna fight you, but do I agree? I don't know. I don't know that I agree because again, like I said, I liked all of them. Now, I didn't read books. I didn't get into the comics. I didn't watch the animated shit. I'm only talking live action stuff. So once you start going that far into the lore of things, I can see how you might say, oh, George Lucas didn't have his hands in none of that. And it was great, fantastic stories. So yeah, I guess I can see that. Reinhardt said, just letting you know, Angus, I got a problem with that. I think he's being the loud vocal group. And Angus said, it's just his opinion. You ain't going down this hill. Exactly. We can agree to disagree, keep it moving. That is for sure. I hate when my lipstick starts to feel like it's getting sticky or something. Anyway. Yeah. I feel like shit, like what you like. Now, just because they put it out don't mean you have to like it. But if the only thing that's keeping you from liking it is, oh, it doesn't line up perfectly with this, you are an extreme case. And by an extreme case, I mean, as far as if your thinking is like that, there are far fewer of us that dig that deep into the lore behind any fandom. There are more people out there who they watch a movie and they like it and they forget about it next week. And then they'll do the same shit over and over. And every time Star Wars comes out, they might go see it, but they not obsessing over it. There are far fewer of us like that than there are of those casual viewers. And to be quite honest, Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC, they all want the money. That's what they want. They want money. And it's a lot of us. And we are going to keep going to see the movies and see it 3 and 4 and 10 times. But at the end of the day, they want that casual viewer money as well. They want to get them in there to see it once. And they might be trying to tell a story that'll rope in those new people. Angus said, of course, you're not counting episode 7, 8, and 9. I I liked all of them, but I know that it is that is a source of discontent for a lot of people. Reinhardt said, seriously, my thing was these people lose their mind over certain things, and I'm just like, just sit back and enjoy the show and see where it takes you. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily change doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Uh, and I don't mind. That's why I guess when I watch the Marvel movies, I don't mind if they take creative liberties with some of the characters, just as long as it makes sense within the story. Do what you must do, or if it makes sense in the greater universe, do what you must. I'm hearing, and this is rumor. This is a rumor. This is a rumor. The rumor that I have been hearing is that it is possible that we learned that King the Conqueror is not a Reed Richards descendant in the MCU, that he would be a Tony Stark descendant in the MCU. And they have already established in the MCU that Morgan, what was her name? Is her name Morgan? Morgan Stark uh, is a genius, just like her dad. So they had already begun establishing that in the MCU in Avengers Endgame. So this would be through her having children down the line. Nathaniel or Kang would come from her, and a lot of things would point back to Tony Stark and how he the one that figured out time travel. So if this is information that was part of their family uh, uh, history, yeah, that's the word, history, duh, duh, part of their family history, that would be a way that Kang was able to piggyback on that, going from time travel to actual multiversal travel. Reinhardt also said, honestly, I'm excited for this new show, and I'm not going to hold their feet to the fire over one line in 1977 in a movie. Yeah, because, and Angus said, that's cool. Yeah, so we don't have to, ain't got to agree on that. And we don't know if Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi really do meet in Kenobi. We don't know. All we know is, just like I don't know that King the Conqueror is going to be a descendant of Tony Stark. These are all speculations, theories, rumors. And I like living in this gray area. So if you ever come across something that is a bona fide leak, do not share it with me. I don't like leaks. I love theories. I love speculation. I kind of dibble and dabble in rumors, but I love to try to guess the next move. It's exercise, it's mental gymnastics. Just sit and just think about, if you were telling the story, this is the direction that you would go in. Or if I was telling the story, based upon what we've seen before in the MCU, I would think this could happen. Or what I saw before in Star Trek, I could think this would happen. That's how I came up with last year when we were talking about the burn, and we started talking about how can Giorgio go back in time. And that's how I thought, oh, the Guardian of Forever, that was a portal through time. That's how I thought of that, because I reached back in my mind to some shit that I remember from the original series, and I applied it in this situation, and I just happened to be right. It was speculation. It was a theory. Sometimes your theories are right. Sometimes your theories are bull crap. And there are always people out there who will tell you just how wrong you are. So there's that. You say you just want them to get Dr. Doom right this time. And I know I'm starting to find out you got a strong affinity for Victor Von Doom, but I agree. What's the point of bringing this character in? You've got a character who could be the next Thanos, and he should, for the Fantastic Four, he should definitely be the next Thanos, except instead of only seeing him in little short spurts throughout other movies, and then you get big massive amounts of them in these last two. I think that we should see Victor Von Doom. uh I think the introduction to the Fantastic Four should be in two phases. One of the phases would be their origin story, and then the other phase would be his origin story. I think that he is important enough a character, a villain, that we should see shit from his point of view. Then telling his side of the story first, and then making him an antagonist for the Fantastic Four throughout other movies. Bringing him out and putting him back on the shelf, I'm cool with that. But it can't just be cameos, Victor Von Doom, like we did with Thanos. I would like to see a build up. I want to see some people at the theater rooting for Victor Von Doom instead of, uh, it is telling this classic story of him just being a bad guy. Angus says each time Vader showed up in Rebels, it was chilling. He's an unstoppable juggernaut. Only Ahsoka could bring him to a standstill. And was that you that shared with me that video of Ahsoka and Vader having their fight? Was that you that sent me that, Angus? I'm pretty sure it was. No, nobody, too many other people send me videos, so I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, I watched that with much interest. Oh gosh, Reinar said he does, doesn't he? Love Doctor. Wait a minute. He does, doesn't he? Love from Doctor Doom. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Doom might be one of the most popular bad guys, not bad guys, sort of bad guys in Marvel. And that's what I mean. I want to see him have layers of pretty much the way we saw Thanos. And but we only got that layered version of Thanos in Infinity War. And by the time we see him again in Endgame, he is back to being just an antagonist. He was in Infinity War. It's arguably he was the protagonist in that movie, and I like seeing things from that angle. That if you went back to the movies, which I did a million times to see Infinity War, and you look at it from the angle of I want Thanos to win, you can see why he should have won those battles, and going on that hero's journey with him, Angus said they're probably hoping that Vader will bring uh back some minutes to the Kenobi series and movie. Yeah, and I hope. Okay, we've seen Hayden Christensen as Anakin. Number one, is he going to be Vader? Is he going to be Vader? And number two, can he pull that off? Also, the voice. We still got James Earl Jones is still around. Let him voice that thing. Angus said, "Chef's kiss. That would be perfect. Give Doom his own movie first and really paint him like an anti-hero." Exactly. He's doing certain things at a certain point in his own journey. He is doing what he believes he has to do for his people. I get that. Let's tell that story. Even though, sometimes how he got there might not have been the most scrupulous way possible, but tell that story. And we can do the exact same thing with Magneto. You don't have to tell his story singularly. I think a side by side of Magneto and Professor X would be like, to see what they went through separately to end up in the place that they ended up together. I would like to see that, but I'm down for whatever they do. These are just Tasha's speculations and theories. I'm not gonna have a fit if they do it a different way, as long as, like you said, Angus, they give us a good rendition of the character of Doctor Doom, a great Professor X, a great Magneto, a great Doom. Whoever they pick, whatever they do, I would like to make sure that it is, done with some love and some care. As long as you care about the characters, I think that you'll do a good job. The same, especially the same way they did with, and I keep going back to Thanos, but Killmonger as well. Angus said in a recent Young Avengers cartoon, they invaded Latvania for some stupid reason. Doom spanked them off and held them back to Fury's feet. Doom and Fury exchanged such a look. And that's what I'm saying. He ain't no, it's not like we can't pretend like he's a punk, because he's not, so don't play him uh like his mentality, he's smarter than being just average. I want to see him doing things calculated. I guess that's where I'm going. He makes calculated moves. So to drag them, he spanked them all and hauled them back to Fury's feet. Yes, that's the kind of shit that we need to see. That Doctor Doom, not some little fucking yes, I'm a bad guy. Not that. uh Reinhardt said, "Oh, James is doing the voice, but I think you're going to get to see Hayden probably through some flashbacks. Probably a lot of him in some heavy makeup, because we got to see Vader with his helmet off. Yeah, yeah. So and then it depends on the timeline of the series, because when we were talking, Lysandra and I were talking some time ago, and she was saying that she would like to see uh where it all started for Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's a part of the story that she is a fan of the movies and has been a fan of the movies for years. But she doesn't have the backstory that people who read books and comics and all of that. And this is what I'm saying about we're making these types of shows for people like a casual kind of fan who, yeah, I watched the movies, but I didn't get into all that other shit. She wants to know that story. She wants to know uh, Obi-Wan Kenobi's parents, how he ended up at the Jedi Temple, how he ended up with Qui-Gon. How did these are people? There are people who love the franchise who just didn't get into all of that extra stuff, and they want to know those backstories. So if they start with telling that story and stay there, tell that story. Don't do the Boba Fett, thing with the flashbacks and coming back to now, and then flashback and then coming back to now. That was a bit jarring at times, especially when you stop the whole damn show and now we're in the Mandalorian. Oh, you thought that was great. Now we're just going to do some Star Wars. So I didn't. That's one aspect of Boba Fett that I didn't like, and I hope they don't repeat that that recipe with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Tell us a story, and then get us to where you want us to be, in not present day, but the most present day that it could be for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Angus said that fight between Ahsoka and Vader his helmet gets partially opened. Vader's voice then was a combination of the two voices. It was done very well. I noticed that, and it was dope. It was a dope fight. It happened in just the way that you would almost expect it to. She holds back. He tries not to. The only thing that was unexpected for me was how that fight ended. How Ahsoka got out of there. And I won't spoil it. If you want to go and watch that video of that clip of what was that from even, Angus? I don't remember where it was from, but I did like it. Yes, I did. So yeah, we didn't just derailed this show and made it into our Star Trek, Star Wars, MCU. We just everything goes right now. So I got a little bit more time if you guys do. Um, yeah, there is a lot to look forward to coming into the MCU. It was an episode of Rebels. Okay. There's a lot to look forward to coming into the MCU. And I'm here for it. I'm going to always have some kind of crazy thoughts going through my mind, even if I'm not articulating them. Because sometimes I tell you, sometimes I get a little nervous about saying the shit that I'm thinking because some people take this shit way too seriously. Now, I do a lot of thinking about it, but damn, I'm not trying to, I'm not Eric Voss. Unfortunately, I'm not. Eric, and he does a hell of a job at his job. I'm not him. I and I don't think he's all extra serious and they shouldn't do this. It's against canon. I don't think he's that serious either. Angus said, I felt they should have let Boba Fett stand on his own 2 feet. Because I get they have their own shared world. Because of Mandalorian, he had to stand on his own 2 feet that first season. Well, he stood on his own 2 feet, but he did get help from Grogu at very opportune moments, The Kenobi, okay, so that's all from the Rebels. The Kenobi versus Maul final fight was also from Rebels. Do we think we're gonna see Darth Maul in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series? Reinhardt said, I mean, we had the characters we were introduced to in his show, but they didn't bring any iconic characters in that first season. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. He we didn't meet Ahsoka until was that season 2? Man, season 2 was everything. Season 2 was everything. But yeah, that introduction, the first introductory season of The Mandalorian, I still don't think that The Mandalorian, and this is a theory, this is just supposition, okay? I don't think the Mandalorian that they're talking about is Din Djarin. I'm still going on record saying I think at the end we're gonna find out that the Mandalorian is Grogu. I mean, if I'm telling the story, if this was my fanfic, yes, I would introduce y'all to a Mandalorian in the first season. We would follow him, but we keep finding out that Grogu is the central character, even though it's Din Djarin and everything that he's doing for Grogu in these first 2 seasons. I think that Grogu is really especially the fact that we've brought him back so quickly from being with Luke. Grogu is the center of this Mandalorian story. It just looks right now like it's Din Djarin. Angus said about the Darth Maul thing, it depends on when the series is set. Though I didn't get the impression that Maul had seen Kenobi for decades. Yeah. I I thought he was so, and because again, remember, I'm not the cartoon. I haven't done all of these animated series. I didn't do comic books. I didn't do books. When I met Darth Maul, I immediately wanted more of that character. And like me sitting on the edge of my seat watching Darth Maul and Obi-Wan fighting, or in Qui-Gon, Darth Maul and Qui-Gon go at it. But me watching that, I want more. And then that same freaking, you know, I think they missed the opportunity to have him be kind of I guess an antagonist that comes back and forth into their lives. Because damn, he was dope. And I was like, why did they kill him? And then it was, oh, we didn't see him die. And we didn't see him die, did we? I don't remember. Did we see him die? We saw him go over the side, but yeah, I would love to see more of Darth Maul. You said this is the way. Hopefully, you're talking about the Grogu thing. I've been saying that. I think Grogu is the Mandalorian, and I think that by the time we get to the end of this thing, he is going to be. We're going to realize that this whole thing, this whole time has been his story. Angus said Lucas had intended for Maul to be a big bad in the third trilogy of films. I wanted to see so much more of that character. Really, I did. And I still do. So shit for me, of course, again, no dog in the actual fight, but I would like to see his ass. And I'd like to see some well choreographed what you call it, lightsaber battles between him and somebody. I don't care who it is. Let's get a fight. I want to see a well choreographed fight with ball. Ball is Lonzo and them. They're villains too. But yeah, I would like to see him with his double-ended lightsaber going at it with somebody. Yes, I would. Maul survived by using the Force to keep himself going. Yep. Same way I feel like you could bring Mace Windu back. Those two, I would like to see back. In fact, like when we look at Obi-Wan Kenobi, and when we look at Grogu, Yoda, they can use the Force to bring themselves back as Force ghosts and yada yada yada. But would it be like couldn't they do the same thing? Angus said in episode 1, Maul is an assassin with Sith trappings, but he becomes a boss in Clone Wars cartoon. Mace ain't dead. I yeah, I want to see. He said, you want a Windu series now. Mace doesn't even need a robotic hand. Exactly. And I mean, shit. We are getting this secret invasion shit on and I mean it's gonna I feel like it's gonna be good because I said shit. And I know I don't want people to think that I'm shitting on this show. I'm looking forward to see a secret invasion. But maybe, they couldn't get him to double dip to do both shows, the filming. I wouldn't mind seeing a Windu series either. Reinhardt said, that's my point right there in the fandom, Tasha. Some people are okay with Maul coming back, including me. But what they were talking about, that Mace Windu might still be alive. I think I'm missing some context. I'm not 100% that I said that the way you wanted me to say it. Again, if you're in the chat and you've not done so, please do me a favor. Hit the like button wherever, or down there, or is it over there? However you're watching this, wherever you're watching this, please hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, I feel like shit. Give me a window series. Give me a let me see. Give me Darth Maul in this Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't need a whole series of him. Yep, just keep him coming back. Don't kill him so quickly. He is a freaking formidable opponent. Why would he die so quickly? Just like I'm pretty sure we're going to see Cad MF and Bane again, because he's such a formidable opponent. And he brings this air of freaking just terror to the show. You know, that was terrifying. Cad Bane, the first time I saw him. So when you have a character like that, they need to come back. We need to see them again. Reiner said, I was like, it ain't no dumber than cutting the dude in half. He comes back. It's all fiction anyway, man. Yep. You said seeing Mace navigating the underground areas of Coruscant in the aftermath of Order 66. Damn. And Thomas is laughing as usual. Thomas is such a good-natured. It's just, yep, it's all funny to me. And Angus said Cad Bane might have a lot of cybernetics. And yeah. And I'm telling you, that little whatever that was blinking, that device, once you told me that he's got a medical droid that kind of hangs around, dude's still alive. Dude is still alive, 70-something years old, out here fighting with these damn kids in the middle of the street. Yep. And I'm here for it. Shit. I hope when I'm 71, I can still fight with the kids. Shucks. And Cobb Vanth, you know, he owes Cad Bane he owes him one. So it would be, to me, unreasonable to not give him an opportunity to even the score with Cad Bane. You said you didn't get why the people hated the mod surgeon so bad. I didn't see no hate, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a matter of what's on my timeline, like on Twitter. But I didn't see the hate for him. I guess they weren't as vocal as the people who hated the mods on those bikes, because I hated that myself. Now the bikes was just too freaking shiny for that to have been on Tatooine. The only thing that I feel like they got 100% right, as they were riding up to where I think they were riding up to where the mayor's office or whatever. Yeah, you can see underneath the bikes, and the undercarriage of those bikes was filthy. And I was like, okay, whew, they got that part right, because there are little things like that that really piss me off. When you're on a planet that now that I get nitpicky about, when you're on a planet that's all dirt, and then you show up and everybody else looks like part of the planet. The planet is all sand. It's a sandy, grimy kind of environment. And then you come riding your ass up in some clean ass clothes, cleaner than the Board of Health. And you got this shiny ass freaking candy painted bike, and everything else in this town is grungy. I got an issue with that. And I think I had that issue until I saw the undercarriage, and it kind of soothed me. It soothed me a little bit. Oh gosh. Reinhardt said, yeah, I think they should have looked more like the Nikto biker gang, and I didn't think people would have had a problem with that. Reinhardt said, I've dug into a lot of Star Wars lore, enough to see the people in that galaxy as an extreme kaleidoscope. That mad surgeon might have had a flavor some didn't like, but wasn't out of setting for me. And I didn't feel like it was, but again, it's all yep. I'm just along for the ride. As long as the ride makes sense, you don't try to overcharge me when we get to the end. I'm just along for the ride. It was fine. The damn bikes bothered me, but the surgeon, I'm just like, okay. All right, Reinhardt. See you next time. That's what they do, I guess, Angus. They spend all day polishing their bikes and then they steal water so that they can continue to polish their bikes. But yeah, uh, that to me is, that was a little weird. That was a little weird for me. Went a little weird for me. Everybody saying goodnight to Reinhardt. It won't be long before I check out too, because it's about dinner time. But I am enjoying this phase of the conversation. um, yeah, and I don't have no issues. I will feel like anything, as long as it makes sense in the course of this story, you make it make sense. I'm all good. For instance, the fact that we even got a freaking Boba Fett series, they made it make sense. He's in the Sarlacc. He sees this flamethrower. He uses the flamethrower to escape. Makes sense within the scope of the story. It makes sense. So I'm along for the ride. I'll take it. I'll take it. And the same thing with whatever y'all want to do with Star Trek. Make it make sense. I'll take it. I'm I'm a easy to please, easy peasy. Except for when you're doing shit like Burnham. I feel like Burnham, she fell in love, and then we've compromised ourselves for these feelings. He said the worst thing you ever saw in Star Wars was a crystalline power pirate ship. Why is my mouth not working? Pirate ship that looked like a sailing ship. It's just painful. So where was that? Where did you see that one? Was it something that I should have seen and I missed, or was it something that was in one of the other forms of media about Star Wars? But yeah, I think that would bother me too. But I mean, and that's the same thing. Well, it was an episode of Star Trek when they were out in space and they were trying to go about traveling the same way that the ancient Bajorans did, and that looked like a fucking ship as well. So there are certain things that you just, man, I just gotta take it with a freaking grain of salt, man. It did make sense. They made it make sense, but God. Oh, you said it was either a comic book or an illustration in an RPG book. Yeah, people like shit. I got this is some shit that I was thinking about it. Thomas said, "Yeah, DS9. Yes, that episode, man. That kind of fucking it bothered me a little bit because earlier in early seasons of DS9, it's probably the whatever season it was when Cisco when Cisco was going to be replaced as the y'all know the word I'm looking for. What is the word? Emissary. When Cisco is going to be replaced as the emissary by old boy from some hundreds of years in the past, Did his ship look like the ship that Cisco and Jake built? Because if it didn't, now I got a problem. I don't remember, but if it didn't, now I got a problem. Uh, Angus says solar sailing is a legit thing, slow but legit. The hardest thing about solar sailing is tracking inwards towards the source of the stellar winds. I wouldn't even want to see myself out there with no fucking sails in space. It would be scary. Yeah, in Thomas said solar winds. Yeah, that would be scary to me, man. Being out in outer space, trying to have to navigate with some sails. Nope. Me the Enterprise, or I'm staying at home. Or the Defiant, or give me something, or I am staying at the crib. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's dinner time for me. I gotta eat my din, and then go and watch. Yeah, yeah. This just nothing going on right here. Yeah, nothing. I need a whole lot, and I live with it. But yes, it would be some. It would be better if it was something here to kind of make it more of an interesting, you know, visually interesting. It does. I'm gonna find something. I'll figure something out. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna figure out something for that wall. I don't know, because I kind of dabble in so freaking much. I love to Star Trek, my Star Wars now, I love the MCU. I love DC, even though DC had not been giving me a lot to love. It's been a little better here lately. So I love DC too. So I'm like, what do I do to represent all of the fandoms? Uh, you said you would hang a poster of the La Serena. That would be dope. I was actually thinking of at one point. I'm not married to this idea, so I will continue to take suggestions. But I was actually thinking of getting one of those backdrops that kind of look like it's the inside of the bridge. So you get a backdrop, and and then if I turn myself this way, it would look like I'm in the bridge of a ship. I was thinking about that, but you know, eh, I'm thinking about it. My first thing I need to get though, before I get anything for the walls or anything else, is a chair with some ass support because my behind be hurting sometimes. This chair is not hard, but it's not, and it's got the hydraulic thing. But I need a deeper chair. You think it would be cool to have that like a bridge? Yeah, that's what I was thinking of though. And then also they have those posters that you put up with magnets. Now I'm a sucker for some of the ads, like when our favorite YouTubers are trying to sell you something, and I have been seeing it on Screen Crush. I forgot the name of the company, but they have those metallic posters. They're metal actually, and you can hang them up with magnets, so make it easy to take them off and put them back down. I wouldn't mind having some of those to represent different fandoms. So if I could just do four, yep, and represent everything I love in those four. He said if there's a unified property to represent all sci-fi and fantasy fandoms, I'd say John Carter of Mars. That would be a nice one to stick right here. I'm thinking of something. Yeah, I'm thinking about, but I forgot the name. Disc plates. That's the name of the. I'm gonna before I cut up out of here, I'm gonna show you like what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen them as fans of this kind of content. But when I say those disc plates are so nice to me, I'm finding buy 1 to 2 disc plates, get 21% off. Buy 3, get 25% off. Use code HAPPY ends today. I don't have it today, baby. I do not have it. Why is this not loading? It's like it's taking freaking forever to load up. Why is my computer tripping? Let's close that real quick. Okay, so here are some examples. And I don't know if things are going to speed up here or if I'm gonna have this problem. But like, do you see this, John Wick? I love it. I love it. Even though it wouldn't go, it kind of goes because I do talk about movies, but it wouldn't go, but $44 for the matte finish medium. And then you see the Guardians of the Galaxy one. Let's so there's that. I think I think that they are nice, like so perfect. It's just a matter of $44. You said the John Carter movie was terrible, but the story itself uh predates almost all of the others, even predates Tolkien. Wow. So yeah, in a perfect world, this would be what I get. In an imperfect world, oh well. Imperfect world, it might be that background because that is a whole heck of a lot cheaper than the disc plates. But to have that sitting around over the corner, wait a minute, it's gonna come. It's taking it a minute. This Iron Man poster would be so perfect. So yeah, those are things that I also when things get a little bit better for me financially, I am going to get myself one of these or a couple of these, a few of these, and make it more visually appealing over here. I don't know why they showing me all Ant-Man and the Wasp though. Oh, they're gonna Captain America, uh, Winter Soldier. Was that the first Avenger? The Civil War. I love that one. Yeah, these are on my freaking wish list. Actually, on my wish list is to have a whole room for nothing but doing my freaking this stuff. Have it all set up that way. until I get, money, 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 money. It's going to be just like this, and we'll be working with this wall. So, yeah, but that's it. I don't have anything else. It's starting to get to, now my stomach is, I'm not just hungry, my stomach is growling. So I'm going to go and get dinner. I hope to see you guys here again on Tuesday when we are talking about Stargate, Star Trek, Star Wars all over again. And hopefully, hopefully we have a decent little crowd and have a decent little discourse. I love it when we have that back and forth. So with all that, being said, good night, Angus. With all that being said, I got nothing else. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, Thomas, and I will see you Tuesday. Peace.